Hey witches, if you are enjoying Waking Up the Witch, then you're definitely going to want to check out my magical shop, Moonbee's Wellness in Medford, Oregon. We have a curated collection of crystals, incense, sage, witchy books, tarot, oracle, and so much magic made locally here in the Rogue Valley. Whether you're just beginning your witchy path or you've been on this journey for quite a while, we have so many items to support where you are in your journey. And we ship anywhere in the US, so no need to be local. But Moonbees is more than just a shop. We are also a sacred space and supportive to your healing journey. I'm a Reiki master, and I also offer a lot of intuitive sessions, including past life readings and past life regression sessions. And all of this can be done virtually online, so I can help you no matter where you're at. Come visit us in Southern Oregon or follow Moonbees Wellness on Instagram and Moonbees_Medford on TikTok. And remember, magic's this way.
This episode of Waking Up the Witch is brought to you by Taylar Pickett Styles. I'm Taylar Pickett, and I am an intuitive hairstylist in Southern Oregon. I offer in-person services as well as online tutorials on how to care for your curly hair, how to properly shampoo your hair. If you're a hairstylist, I offer lots of education and one-on-one consulting on how to build your clientele and take care of your clients. If you're interested in any of these services, please reach out to me. There will be a link in the bio. I also offer organic hair care from Innocence Organic Beauty, and you can also buy that online through me, link in the bio, and also on my Instagram page, Taylar Pickett Styles. I also have a TikTok page if you're into just talking a little bit more deeply about things, going into deeper dives about hair care, self-love, and self-worth. My TikTok handle is Southern Oregon Curl. And don't forget, tame nothing, nourish everything. Enjoy this episode. I'm Taylar.
And I'm Amber.
And this is
Waking Up the Witch. We're your neighborhood witches. Each week, we talk about all things witchy and connect with other humans in a storytelling format about navigating life on this floating rock.
We're two curious ladies trying to understand the human experience. But while we do that, we think it's important to honor the people that lived here before us and honor the cultures and traditions that we're being inspired by.
This podcast is about waking up the witch, which means we are learning and growing every day. That being said, we are always open to feedback on how we can do better.
The views and opinions of our guests don't necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Waking Up the Witch. Now, let's go, ghouls. Hi, Amber.
Hi, Taylar.
What's going on?
We just had a couple marks.
Yep.
And realized that either we forgot to record this intro or it disappeared. I definitely remember having conversation around this, just you and I. So maybe Mercury was in the microwave or something.
Anyway, this episode, we talked all about dreams. We had a repeat guest. It was amazing. I said wow a lot of times. I was really wowed.
Yeah, it was very interesting. We love Jaxon. We had such a great conversation with him like 2 years ago about his journey growing up in the Mormon church. And near the end, we discussed a little bit about dreams. So it was really fun to like meet him here on this side because his journey had just really started, the exploration of that. And now he's a dream professional.
Yeah, pretty cool.
So that was really fun. We go really deep. I'm excited to learn more from him and hopefully have a session at some point or join one of his like group monthly connection moments and just like learn a little bit more about our dreams. The subconscious is a wild playground.
Enjoy this episode.
And bye.
All right. Close your eyes if you can, if you're not driving. And we're going to take 3 deep breaths together. Starting with the first breath, take a big deep breath in through your nose, all the way down to the bottom of your lungs, filling up all the way to the top. And hold for a second and release everything in the tank, all the way empty through the mouth. We're going to do that again now. Take a big deep breath in. And release all of that. On this final deep breath in, we're going to breathe in love and abundance and health. And then breathe out all the bullshit. I would like to call in our higher selves, our angels, and our guides to be here with us today, as well as our guest. And help us bring forward anything that's meant to come through today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back.
Hey.
It
Please
is a
introduce
pleasure to be
yourself.
back.
Yeah.
So for listeners who may not know me, I'm Jaxon Peterson. Been on the podcast previously discussing my journey in Mormonism and leaving Mormonism, and highly recommend going back to that episode. A little shameless self-promote there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Same. It's a very
great.
good one. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, we get a lot of messages actually about that one and just how eye-opening it really was. So thank you for sharing again.
Absolutely. So for those who haven't jumped in yet, I grew up Mormon, live here in Utah, which is the capital of Mormonism currently. I think 70+% of the state is Mormon, so it's definitely
so
in
crazy.
the culture.
Yeah.
Left Mormonism it's been 10 years since I started leaving, but yeah, really left it 7 or 8 years ago.
What a process.
It is. Yeah, it's definitely a shift in identity when it's been your whole life. You do a 2-year mission, you dedicate 100% of that time to not just the church, but giving and trying to convince other people, hey, come join the church. And so then to have that moment of leaving while not, how do I say it? While not losing your own soul. Because it's so easy to go, I'm bitter, I'm angry, and have that consume you and lose not just your identity as Mormon, but lose your sense of self and well-being because you're so caught up in the anger that, it's a process to truly let go.
I would assume it feels a little like betrayal and just like being, you left a cult. Like, let's be very clear about that. Like, just because it's a big, like, well-known religion doesn't make it not a cult.
Yes. So there's
And
definitely
so there's
that
probably a lot to
part.
that.
Yeah, there's that betrayal that everybody has their moment of why they choose to leave. It's likely something to do with history, something that I never knew that. And suddenly your shelf that everything was resting on just breaks. And so it's natural to feel that anger, that resentment, that betrayal, that hurt, and getting to a point of, I'm not going to let this consume me. I'm not going to swap one identity, Mormon, for another identity, ex-Mormon. I'm going to take a moment to be who I am.
Yeah, and that's your whole community and likely family. And so it's not just leaving behind the church. It's like leaving behind your old identity and your whole community a lot of the times.
Exactly. Yeah, you're involved. Here in Utah, it's, hey, Sunday, we're going to have family dinner after so-and-so's baptism, or after I've got a brother-in-law who's serving a mission in Greece, which, I mean, come on, that's pretty cool. Regardless of
it's a great
what he's
place
doing
for
out
that.
there, he's going to come back and he's going to be that return missionary, all that zeal and everything. And that's okay. Like getting
Mhm.
to the spot where it's like, I hope that you had an amazing experience. And yeah, I'm going to be there, your family.
Mm.
But I know it's not that easy. I'm lucky. I have amazing family in that regard. I know there are others out there who it's a constant battle. It's something where it's akin to politics, right? And so, yeah, it's a long process. And anyone who's going through it, my heart goes out to you. And no, you're not alone.
Yeah.
Mm.
And you can, I mean, I'm speaking for you, but I'm sure people can reach out to you as well to chat. I feel like you'd be very open to that.
Yes, absolutely. And, my approach is since I last was on, I've become a Jungian coach. I'm also a certified professional dream worker. And with that comes the knowledge like my path and what I see is not what everybody else is going through. So if it's, hey, I'm leaving Mormonism, I could use some help. My first question is this really what you want?
Mm-hmm.
Because some people think I've learned this, that means I have to leave. And then in talking about
Mhm.
it, they go, I don't actually want to leave, but what do I do with it? I could say, oh, I think you should leave. I did. You should. But
Mhm.
if that's not their path, then, that's where I come in of like, okay, if you're looking for reasons to stay, I can also help with that so that you're living
Yeah.
authentically in the religion rather than, yeah, you can't go back. That shelf is broken.
I love
Mm-hmm.
that. Just meeting people exactly where they are and being compassionate to their own journey. That is such a gift. I don't think everyone can do that. So thank
Mm-hmm.
you for being that for people. It's very special.
Of course.
So you said since we've seen you last, you're doing what?
Yes, Jungian coaching. So, for those who
Mm-hmm.
aren't
What's that?
familiar with Carl Jung, he's Swiss psychiatrist. If you've heard the term shadow work, you can thank
Mm-hmm.
him for that, even though
Okay.
he never actually used that term, but it's been extrapolated from his work. If you've heard unconscious archetypes, anima, animus, any of those terms all come from him and his work. And so my work as a Jungian coach is helping individuals, whether that's professionally or in their personal life, really tap into that other part of themselves, that unconscious part that is likely not being heard and is causing these things to show up in life where it's like, I don't understand. I have a good life. Why do I feel like something's missing?
Mm-hmm. So since this is waking up the witch, if you could, I'd love to break down like what those terms mean because maybe somebody doesn't know what shadow work is or any of the other like basic terms you just gave us. Can you break those down?
Happily. So Jung conceptualized our psyche as having a persona, which is what we present to the world. You might have a hairdresser persona, a mom persona, a energy healer persona, a corporate persona, the religious persona, and you're trying to create a I'm not religious anymore persona.
Mm-hmm.
It's what shows up in the world. And then there's the ego, which is our sense of self. It's that sense of this is who I am and is kind of that feeling of the experience, the conscious experience. Behind that is the shadow. It's the part of ourselves that is almost in direct opposition with our persona.
Mm.
So if you think about, there's a conception of like, oh, this is my shadow. Yes, likely is an aspect of shadow, but just as though, if I move in this light, my shadow is also moving. And so any role that we play in life also has a shadow. And that's the part that we are not aware of that we don't want to show up. I don't want to lose my shit on a coworker at work. That would go against my corporate persona. So it's kind of, it is the antithesis to the persona. And it also holds the opportunity to grow because it's not just all the bad things. A lot of people think, oh, it's my shadow. It's the anger, the resentment, and everything else. Potentially all of that. And it's the parts of you that you're not willing to embrace that are golden. It's the part of yourself that if you would tap into, you would become so much more. And that's scary to embrace.
Mm-hmm.
It's that part of yourself where maybe your parents suggested or flat out said, you're not good at this, and you give up. When in actuality, perhaps you're amazing. You just need to dedicate the time to it.
Okay, when you think your parents said you're bad at something, you gave up, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
I don't think my mom ever told me I was
Oh.
bad at something.
I wanted to be a singer, and my mom's like, girl, no. And I'm like, okay, she's kind of right.
Yeah,
Okay.
nothing popped into my mind. There might be something, but
She was usually a good cheerleader. She was just like, ow. Wait.
I'm sure that's a common one.
Yeah.
My mom was a voice teacher, so I think she gently
You're a
was
really
like,
good singer,
let
too.
me help you
Yeah.
develop that.
That's true. Okay, go on. I just was laughing like,
No, I think that is common. As soon as you said that, I had a memory of my dad who I'm singing Incubus, and he's
Yes.
he goes, who sings that? I'm like, oh, it's Incubus. He goes, yeah, you should let them sing it.
I got that one a lot. Love
My
it.
gosh.
So cute.
Yeah. And so, it's that playful parenting thing. It was a joke.
Mhm.
There's probably some truth in that. But yeah, it did have an effect of like, I'm now more self-conscious. It became a part of
Mhm.
my shadow in that regard.
Mhm.
And then behind the shadow, so the shadow again is unconscious. It's behind us. It takes work to look into. You're trying to take the unconscious and make it conscious. A lot of people will do shadow journals. I recommend those. I personally love a technique that is called the empty chair dialogue, and that has its roots in Gestalt therapy. So anyone who's done any therapy work and their therapist is Gestalt oriented, they're aware of the empty chair. But essentially, it's getting into this state where you are letting yourself say the things that come to mind and having a conversation with this shadow or other part. And it can be really enlightening, especially if you have another person witness it, where they may catch something that you don't hear, and then they can repeat it back to you. And you have this moment of like, wait, that part of me said what?
Oh.
And so, yeah, it's really powerful in that regard. The other side, so anima, animus, that is the part, Jung conceptualized it as the soul. So there's been some critiques, and they're fair, but, Jung was a product of his culture and his era. From his experience, he suggested that every male has an inner female. So their soul is feminine, and every woman, her soul is masculine. And again, there's some critiques that might come up from that, but there's also, I feel like there's some truth. It's not to say, I'll back up 2 steps because this is potentially loaded there. When I say
Mhm.
masculine and feminine, I don't mean sex.
Right.
So there are masculine and feminine
Energy.
energies. Right.
Yeah.
So
Thank you for clarifying.
absolutely. It's important to note that there's this balance, and this is kind of what shows up when we're imbalanced and what people may be experiencing when they're like, I have a good life. Why am I dissatisfied? There could be a disconnect that you have to work through your shadow and other aspects and then find, oh man, I am disconnected from my soul. I'm disconnected from the feminine energy as a man, that creativity, those emotions, the nurturing part of myself. I've been so focused on drive and ambition, things that aren't bad, but if it's one-sided, then you become dissatisfied. You're out of balance there. And, the same could be said of the reverse, where, if a woman is saying, I have a good life, I'm happy where things are going, but I just don't know what's going on. It might be that she's disconnected from her masculine soul, the masculine energy for drive, and she needs that encouragement to pursue something and balance that out. Everything is going to be individualized. There's not just this blanket, like, here's how you fix it. Individual work and their individual path is really what it's all about. Trying
Love
to
it.
think if there's.
Did you go, like, how did you get this certification?
So I went.
And what, like, was drawing you towards it?
Yeah, I was talking with a friend, and I was essentially saying, I want to do something different. I don't know what different is. I don't know.
What were you doing at the time?
So I'm still in corporate life, and
Mhm.
I work for a good company, but it's still that 9 to 5, the grind. And there are aspects of my job that I really enjoy. Connecting with, I'm in management, and so the opportunity to work individually with my direct reports is fantastic. And we provide a service that is needed. It's in healthcare. But at the end of the day, there was just something that I felt was missing. So talking with a friend, he said, well, have you considered becoming a life coach? And I laughed and I said, no. Who am I to tell someone how to live their life? Like, I just left Mormonism that told people how to live their lives. I
Mhm.
don't think that I'm ready to, hey, you should do this. And he said, well, no, what about Jungian coaching, where it's all about exploring the unconscious, the soul, finding alignment, and you don't tell anyone ever what they're supposed to do. Even close suggestions are frowned upon, where it's really about asking questions and diving in and letting the unconscious come forward of, here's what the message is. It's essentially creating this space and a container with the right tools and questions to explore what's needed for each individual. So I went to the International Jungian School, Dr. Avi Gorambar, and he's fantastic. He definitely challenged me in personality. At times we clash, but I love him for it because he is unapologetically himself. And so that allowed me to really examine my own issues where it's like, oh, am I upset with Avi and what he said? Or is this just highlighting something in myself that I need to work on?
I heard that recently. I don't remember where, but someone said that and it was like kind of mind-blowing, eye-opening for me, or I'm like, and there was recently someone who came into community that was a big personality, and so I was like trying to really reflect on that. Like, what about this person is like triggering me?
Maybe they were just annoying.
Yeah. There's an amazing quote. It's one of my favorites from Carl Jung. He says, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves.
Mhm.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, I did that program, became certified. It was deep work. Uh, and
How long did it take?
it took, let's see, it's 120 hours of sessions. And then there's also 100 hours of coaching. No, that's not right. 125 hours of coaching that need to be done for the additional certification through the International Coaching Federation.
Mhm.
So yeah, all in all, it's
Is it mostly men?
no,
Or
actually,
are
it's
there a lot of women?
primarily
I wanna do this.
women.
Do it.
I wanna do this. Sounds awesome.
It is. It's amazing. And then after that, I felt as though there was something missing, something that, the more I learned about Jung, you can't get into Jung without running up against dreams. It's impossible. Like the moment you start looking
Mhm.
into Carl Jung and his work, you're going to run across dreams.
And why is
And
that?
his approach was that the unconscious, to really tap into it, your dreams are the royal road to that unconscious. And he would work with his patients with their dreams because, if you go into therapy as a therapist, you're kind of wondering, well, is this really what is going on? Is this really the issue? And dreams have a knack for highlighting what's really going on.
Because it's subconscious.
But they're so weird sometimes. Like, what really is this trying to tell me? I like woke up this morning and I'm like, okay, we're gonna go talk to Jaxon, but like me being on Love Island like last night, what is that supposed to mean for me? Because it doesn't seem like some poetic prophecy.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the amazing thing with that is I love what you said that, but they're sometimes so strange. And what I've come to say is there's no such thing as a dream that isn't strange. You can't get into Carl Jung without running into dreams. And so I started looking around for ways to increase my knowledge about dreams. And I went through the Institute of Dream Studies, their program. So Justina Lasley is the founder of that, and she's an amazing woman out in North Carolina. And then the director, Linda Mistrangelo, she works with dreams. She's a therapist, and she works with individuals in therapy using dreams and also helping others with grief counseling using their dreams as well. So I learned an immense amount, everything from Freud all the way to present, with different techniques and really learning that dreams feel confusing because they often speak to us in metaphor and are symbolic. And so I'll use a quick example. This
Just thinking of
dreamer,
Taylor's Love Island. Sorry.
right.
I didn't even watch it recently.
So you can metaphor, pun, those are good ways to look at things. I'll use an example. This dreamer's giving me permission. So that's another thing about dreams is I always ensure that if dreams are shared, it's up to the dreamer whether or not it remains confidential. So this dreamer told me a dream where they are in a warehouse and they are looking for an alarm clock. They're looking through all these boxes. They have to find this alarm clock. Can't find it anywhere. And that's their entire dream, is just spent in this warehouse where they used to work, tearing through boxes, trying to find an alarm clock. And at first glance, it's like, well, okay, so your alarm was probably going off and that probably bled into your dream. And that's probably why you had it. But we know from studies that it can be pretty difficult to have outside influences in your dreams. It's not always the case. You can't just be like, oh, okay, that explains that. So in asking a few questions, like, okay, tell me about your last job. You said that that's where it took place, was in the warehouse. You used to work there. What was it like? Do you miss it ever? No? Okay. So your association's kind of a stressful place. You're glad that you left there. So in that setting, in your dream, your unconscious is pulling a place that you don't want to be at and putting you there. So that's the first thing to note. The next part is, what are you looking for? Urgently. An alarm clock. Okay. What do alarm clocks do? Like, what's their function? Sometimes that's the easiest way to get at a symbol, is asking the question, like, what is this function? Like, what does it do? And it's like, well, it's supposed to wake me up. Okay. So you're searching for an object to help you wake up. And the other part of it,
chills.
and it's amazing how just these little questions where it's like, okay. And we can all relate a little bit. The final thing was just kind of this hunch that I had. And I said, what's your relationship with time right now? Well, I'm rushing all the time from here to here to here. I said, okay, so it sounds like you're trying to find the time. Yes. Okay, exactly.
Literally
Like, all right.
trying to find the time.
Mm-hmm.
So simple,
So interesting.
but like
Yeah.
so complex.
Yeah. And you wake up
Crazy.
like, I don't know why this feels important. I don't know what it means. Like, okay. And then from there, it's like, well, to help you wake up, like there's something, because you're rushing all the time, you're in a place that you don't want to be. You can't find the time for yourself. How are you supposed to wake up?
Wow. So many meanings.
Yeah. And then it becomes this moment of like, you can then make it practical of like, what would you need to not be searching for time all the time? Like to not feel frantic and rushed. What's one thing you can do today? It's like, well, I could stick to my calendar. Like I have a calendar, I have things mapped out, but an alarm goes off and I'm supposed to do this thing, but I put it off. If I just stop and I go, okay, I'm doing this thing, that could help. Okay. And then with those changes, paying attention to how does that affect your dreams? Because one thing, getting a little dream nerdy for a moment, there are multiple theories about why we dream. And there's not a concrete, like, this is the reason. One of the more cited reasons essentially says dreams are nonsense. Dreams are
Yeah,
just what
whatever.
your brain does. And
That's
that's
so
kind of
dumb.
this, yeah, it's the scientific, like, oh, yeah. And this dream theory has been cited, I think the last time I looked, it was like 1,600 times. So it's very popular. And, it's like, yeah, that's what happens. However, it doesn't account for something called continuity, which shows there are researchers out there who've taken large bodies of dream journals. And one of my favorite dreamers researchers, Kelly Bulkley, he took dream journals from individuals and all he knew about them was their age and their sex. That's it. And so he took these dream journals, did word analysis to go through and see like what types of dreams, like didn't even have the full story of the dream. Just, okay, here are the dream journals. I'm going to upload them into this program. It's going to analyze for keywords. And based on that, know, all right, this individual dreams about school or a category 10% more than the average person. So based on that, I'm going to say that during this time period, they were in school. So doing this blind analysis. And with this blind analysis, he was able to determine that with 80% accuracy, what was going on in individual's life during certain times. Like, I'm going to say that this individual is not a parent. And that one came back as like, well, actually I am, but I'm a step parent. And so I've never in my dreams like referred to my stepchild by like as my child. It's by a proper name. So, the program wouldn't pick that up. But everything else, like not religious, creative, likely works in a creative field, writing, art, something like that. All these inferences just on dreams and with 80% accuracy was able to say, this is what I know about you. So we know that things from waking life, our concerns, our emotions, the things that we're involved with do bleed into our dreams. And it also can go both ways, right? Like we've all had dreams where you wake up and you think about that dream throughout your entire day. Like you just
You
keep going.
punch your partner and you're like, why'd you cheat on me last night,
Mhm.
motherfucker?
Exactly. Yes.
And it just feels so real in your body, like you had the experience too.
Yeah. And so it's incredible what dreams can reveal about us. And it's a good way to track, am I aligning with my purpose? Am I on the right path? And the
That's
right
cool
path
that
is
you can do that
wholeness.
with dreams.
Yeah.
I don't know if I
So
ever dream about doing hair. I don't think I do. Like ever. Which is kind of weird, right?
that's really interesting because, yeah,
I'm over it by the time I go to bed. I'm like, I'm done with you. I'm not doing this on my off time. Nobody's paying me for this.
and that's part of that is also if you're not necessarily, if you don't have strong feelings about it in the sense of like, no, I'm good. I don't think about hair a lot. It's something that I do, but I don't necessarily spend a lot of time worrying about it. Or maybe it's portrayed in a different way. So instead of doing hair, maybe if it's a concern about career, how is that showing up? Is that what's really the concern about career? Is it financial or is it life purpose? There's a bunch of different things where it's like, no, I don't dream about career, so it must not be important. Perhaps, is it showing up symbolically in a different way? Is it
Yeah.
as a former Mormon, it's not uncommon to have dreams about being back on an LDS mission.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, what is that trying to say? It's like, well, it could be saying a couple of things, but one of those is that, if you just take it at face value, I'm looking for the next mission in my life. And in the dream, I'm having this feeling like I've done this before. Why am I here?
Yeah.
And
That happens to
that,
me, but it's like always like high school. I'm like
mhm,
running late to class, afraid I'm not going to graduate. And then in the dream, I'm like, you already did. What am I doing here? And then I'm
right.
just like confused and I'm always lost. I can never find the class that I'm like supposed to be in. I'm always kind of lost. I lose my car a lot. Like, I can never find my vehicle, and I'm always like running the streets or like leaving somewhere, and I can never find my car.
Hmm.
What the fuck does that mean?
So going back, there's not a universal meaning. That's one thing that if you have a
Right.
dream dictionary, burn it. I'm just kidding. I won't tell you
No,
to do that.
I bought like a dream deck once, and I was like, this is so dumb. And I never touched it again because I was like, that does not resonate at all.
Yeah, it's hard to say this is what this means. And throughout the ages, like even one of the first, if you could call it a dream dictionary, came from Greece. And the author would explicitly tell people you need to know the person's work, how old they are, their sex, their life circumstance, all these different things before you can say this is what your dream means.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it kills me for multiple reasons when people go, I had a crazy dream. And so I jumped on Chat GPT and this is what it means. I'm like, please,
No.
multiple
Don't do
reasons.
that.
No, just no. If individuals do want like quick little things of like what it could mean, please, again, do not just jump on any of these large language models and just throw your personal information in there. If you're looking for something, there are dream apps that might incorporate AI. They've built in the policies to keep it private. You're not going to be feeding algorithms and data to large language models through those. Two that I can vouch for elsewhere. They are a fantastic team. Kelly Bulkley is involved. He's that dream researcher that I mentioned earlier. Again, they're an amazing team and they really focus on the privacy of their users. Another one is Tenemos, and both of those, again, you can find through just jumping on the App Store, Google, or the App Store on the iPhone. You can download those.
Awesome.
But again, so going back, there's not a universal meaning and AI is going to miss it. The reason for you, one thing that I heard you say is, I'm always lost. And so one thing to pay attention to is the recent events leading up to the dream, especially high school dreams, where, what do we associate high school with? It's a time of learning, but it's also like, what's your personal association with high school? Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Was it a time of anxiety or was it a time of like growth? What was going on during that time?
All of the above.
Sounds
Actually.
about right.
Good, bad, traumatizing.
And, can't find the right class. Okay, so I can't seem to, for me, what comes to mind with that is I can't seem to find what I'm supposed to be learning right now. I can't seem to find the lesson. Oftentimes when I have those dreams, I have to go to the front office and say, what classes am I taking? And then I go and I'm like, okay, do I even remember how to get to some of these classes?
Mm-hmm.
With the continuity part, like our waking dream or our waking self to our dream self, oftentimes it's viewed unilateral. So one way of, oh, my dreams are trying to tell me this. Yes. What are you telling your dream self? There's a part of you that I hear of like, I've already done this. I'm graduated. What am I doing here? And so there is that awareness of like, I've already done this. I've learned the lesson. I'm ready to move on. And so the next level of like, okay, I write down my dream in my dream journal. And then as the waking self, I might tell in my dream journal, if I dream about being in high school again, I can walk out. I've already graduated.
Okay.
Well, that's a neat tool.
Yeah. So then it becomes this co-creation instead of just dreams are here to help me in my waking life. It's I'm co-creating an existence because like you said,
I love
Amber,
that.
I think it was, it's that felt sense in the dream. Like it's so real.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do I help my dream self get through that as well? I don't want it to just be, hey, gimme, gimme, gimme.
Yeah.
I'm
I
going
love
to return the
that.
favor.
There's something I'm kind of picking up on too as you're talking. Like, it feels like there is this level of maybe trying to help yourself do some more lucid dreaming through this dream journaling work. I think I would assume that you probably have a good relationship with lucid dreaming. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Tell the listeners what that means.
Yes. So lucid dreaming is an awareness of this is a dream. And we all have moments of that's weird and almost becoming lucid.
Mm-hmm.
And there's kind of that pre-lucid sense. So again, like I've already done this, I've already graduated is a moment of pre-lucidity. So there are several techniques out there on how to become lucid in your dreams for anyone who's into psychological thrillers. If you want to have a good insight of learn how to lucid dream and have a psycho thriller experience on Netflix,
Okay.
there's a show called Behind Her Eyes.
Oh, I just started that recently.
It's great.
Yeah.
So whoever they consulted did a really good job of illustrating some different techniques that you can do. Meditation is going to be the biggest one and just becoming aware of your lived experience in
Mm-hmm.
waking life. So, anytime that you do something little, so you go to reach for a door, you can do a moment of like, what is this experience? And have a moment of, am I dreaming? Am I awake? And those little cues will eventually start to add up of like, okay, am I dreaming? Am I awake? And because continuity from waking to sleep will carry in your dreams, you'll start to have that same routine and that same practice. Looking at your hands, that's a big one.
I have so many things to say.
Go ahead.
Okay. So, like, I get like sleep paralysis sometimes where I'm like, get me the fuck out of here. I can't wake up. And I'll be like smacking the shit out of myself in my dream. And I can feel it in my dream. It can be like really, really scary because I'm like, I'll wake up and then in my room and I'm still not awake. And then I'm like, and it'll happen over and over. And I'm always like in the room that I'm actually in. So I think that I'm like awake, but then like something will happen. And I'm like, motherfucker, I'm still in here. How do I get out? And it like can go on for a very long time. And then by the time I wake up, I'm like exhausted because I've been
Mm.
trapped for who knows how long.
Mm.
And I
Okay.
think that's like my experience with lucid dreaming, if that's even the same thing.
Yeah. So that I'm hearing a couple of layers in there. And one thing with sleep paralysis as generally defined is you wake up, but you cannot move. So you're awake in bed, cannot move. Sometimes you see shadow figures.
Hmm. So that's not what is happening to me.
Yours sounds like it's some lucidity plus nightmare, and you're trying to wake up and can't quite get there. That's a
Hmm.
common thing. And then dreams within
Sometimes I
dreams.
will open my real eyeballs and then I like can't get them open. And so I'll like be like, if I can just grab my phone and if I can look at my phone, then my eyes will be able to wake up enough to like get me out of here. But then like they won't open anymore.
Hmm.
And then I don't know if that was real or fake either.
Yep. Yeah, that's a common thing with individuals who become lucid in um, frightening situations where I'm trying to wake up. I'm trying to wake up. I can't. So what you can do is spin in your dream. If you spin around and you're conscious enough to like, okay, I can't wake up. I'm going to spin The experience there is that it will shift the dream scene. So you may not wake up,
Wow.
but it will create a different scene often. The other
Interesting.
thing is you can, if you're lucid enough, you can yell out in the dream exactly what you want. Now, lucid dreaming, contrary to popular conception, does not give you 100% control over your dream.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You
I think
will,
that's where I'm at with it. A lot of
yeah,
times. I'm like, I know I'm dreaming, but it's like I don't know that I like have control, and that's what I thought that lucid dreaming meant.
yeah, you can get to a point where, again, going back to co-creation, there are things that you can do in the dream where, again, can you have sex in your dream just at will? Sure, absolutely. But there will be individuals in the dream that will say no. Or maybe you're having a dream and you start getting frisky, and surprise, that dream figure turns into someone you don't want to be with. The dream has a way of, again, trying to communicate to you what's really important. Sometimes I read an account of an individual who was like, I'm going to go I think they were going to fly to another universe, made it out of the Earth's atmosphere, and a sign appeared that said access denied.
Nice try.
And so, there was a moment of self-reflection and then asking the dream, okay, what would you have me do instead? And that's another part of, like, lucid dreaming can be a lot of fun, and it can promote so much spiritual growth where you can learn things, and there are messengers and teachers in the dream that are just waiting. And if you have that awareness, it can be incredible to learn from these dream teachers and these guides. And then going back to nightmares themselves. So anyone listening with kids, the first thing,
night terrors.
yes. Night terrors again, it's uncommon for individuals once they get past about the age of 10 to have night terrors. If that persists, strongly recommend seeking medical attention. Sleep labs, those types of things can be amazing, because night terrors are what's called a parasomnia, which is it's a sleeping disorder in a way.
Mm-hmm.
It's common with young children. They don't remember it. Night terrors, they usually wake up between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m., right around there, just sitting straight up screaming.
Little demons. Witching hour.
Yeah, it's right around that time. So with that, again, anyone who's experiencing a night terror is unlikely to be having an experience. It's usually this shift between non-REM sleep or coming out of REM sleep into non-REM sleep. Neurochemical things are going on. And again, sitting straight up screaming. They're not necessarily having a nightmare. It lasts for maybe 3 minutes, and then they usually just go right back down to sleep.
Okay.
There's no need to try and, like, hey, wake up. It's okay. Just being there, holding them. It's often scarier for the person who is awake than from the person experiencing night terrors. Nightmare. So the difference between a bad dream and a nightmare is, did the individual wake up? If the individual woke up, it's a nightmare. Bad dreams, yes, we all have them. They're disturbing, whatever, but that's the quote unquote clinical way of determining bad dream, nightmare. Did the
So like you
individual
wake
wake
up
up?
in the middle of
Yeah.
it?
Yeah,
For
either
a
in the middle
nightmare?
of it, or, like being chased. That's probably the most common nightmare.
Yeah.
And then they grab you, or you're anxious, and then wake up and, oh my gosh, okay.
Okay.
Individuals who are experiencing depression, PTSD, often have a lot of nightmares. And there's a recent study that came out that showed that frequent nightmares, can actually decrease life expectancy. So
Wow.
if you experience frequent nightmares, please find an individual who is familiar with how to work with nightmares. That can be a therapist, a dream professional, someone who is trained to help you with that.
Wow.
That makes
It,
sense, especially if it's coming from a place of PTSD and depression, anxiety. That those things would be obvious to help, that could contribute to decreasing life expectancy, and then causing more trauma to your physical body through nightmares. That makes sense.
Exactly. So with that, if you have kids or if you're experiencing nightmares, the one thing that I recommend is do not say it was just a dream. Because as
Okay.
we've highlighted, it's one of those things where it's like, it was so real.
Yeah.
Recommended approach to nightmares and resolving them is through image rehearsal training. Essentially, it's when you're conscious and awake, writing out the dream, looking for the part that you want to change, where it's like, okay, if I could just change this. So maybe that's looking at it and going, I don't want to go through that door.
Mm-hmm.
If I could change the dream before going through that door, I wouldn't have the nightmare. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's rewrite the script. What's the new script? I come to the door. Instead of going through the door, I turn around, or I open the door and I see that it's the door to Disneyland,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that may be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once you have the new script, laying in bed and repeating that new script over and over for about 10 minutes. And that's been the way that most people experience within about a week to 10 days that their dreams start to shift.
So cool. Our brains are so crazy.
So
Okay,
dream journaling is
Yeah.
super important.
I have so
it
many more
seems like.
questions.
I do too.
Yes.
Okay, go. I've just been going.
Well, mine might kind of veer us in new directions.
Mine too. So you go
Okay.
first.
Well, okay. So, what about for those people who don't remember their dreams or don't feel like they're big dreamers, or maybe, smoke a lot of pot and don't dream a lot because of substances?
You
What are
hit
some ways to induce dreaming, or, are there people who just don't dream
Yeah.
also?
yes, it's a very small percentage of the population. The studies that we do have are kind of smaller because, again, you don't have a huge group of the population saying, I don't dream, period.
Mm-hmm.
But we can
Be so
extrapolate that
weird.
it's about 4% of the population that even in a sleep lab setting where they are monitoring brainwaves and can say like, okay, they are coming out of REM, wake them up. Tell us about your experience. I didn't experience anything.
It's probably those
Okay.
same people that don't have an inner dialogue.
Mm.
They probably don't have dreams. That's a
Yeah, there's
hot take.
a few different, we don't know exactly why. We do know that there are regions of the brain, if they are damaged or have lesions, specifically the visual processing area, it just causes either no dreams or dreams are different. So we know that individuals who are, trying to think of the politically correct term, but I can't think of it right now. Forgive me. Individuals who are blind,
Oh, okay.
non-sighted, but they do dream, but their dreams are different than the average person. So they experience more hearing, smell, taste, which is completely different than the average dreamer.
Makes sense.
But so yes, there are individuals out there who do not experience dreams. However, I have found the majority of people who say, I don't dream, my first thing when I hear that is to ask, how much sleep are you getting?
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I wear an Aura ring. It tracks my sleep. I was able to run the numbers for myself personally. And if I get 6 hours or less of sleep, my chances of dream recall are about 10%.
Mm-hmm.
If I get 7 to 9 hours, it jumps up to 22.6%. So double the chance just by getting more sleep.
How many hours do you think people are dreaming per night, actually?
Yeah, actually, per night, it ranges from
And it's when you're
90
in
minutes to
REM,
2
right?
hours. That's if you're going to place a bet on whether or not someone's going to dream, or be dreaming, that's where you're going to say, I bet they're dreaming because they're in REM. We know that there are dreams that occur in non-REM, but yeah, the default is in REM sleep. So that's rapid eye movement. So anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours on average is how much time you're spending in dreams.
Interesting.
The other part of recalling dreams is caring. So caring about your dreams and going back to dream journals, that's kind of that conscious way of demonstrating I do care about my dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Cute.
recommend everyone starting a dream journal. It doesn't have to be fancy. You don't have to go out and buy a dedicated journal. You could just
I
use a
used to just
piece of
write in my
paper.
notes app on my
Yeah,
phone when I woke up because it's like
exactly.
right there.
Yeah, you
Sometimes
can
it
do
just says
that.
weird stuff though, because obviously it doesn't make
I feel like
sense.
you've sent me some like random notes, like, don't know what that was about. Must have been a weird
Oh yeah.
dream.
Yeah. So having that, again, I've mentioned Kelly Bulkley multiple times on this podcast,
Mm-hmm.
but the only thing he did was changed in this kind of experimental phase was just showing intentionality with his dreams. And he kept a dream journal, had 1,001 entries over the course of 3 years. So, that averages out to a dream a day. And again, it's just I have paper and pen or pencil right by my bed. And when I wake up, I just lay in bed for about 2 minutes and remain perfectly still, thinking, what did I dream? And just laying there until something comes to mind.
Because it's gone after that time.
Yeah, if you jump right out of bed, and that's, again, everybody's circumstances are different. I recognize that, I'm a parent of 4 kids. I sometimes just yanked right out of bed, and that happens. You know, there's nothing wrong with like, oh my gosh, I'm only able to record a dream a month. That's fine. That's 12 dreams a year over the
Right.
course
Yeah.
of 10 years. That's 120 dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we start thinking of it of that way of like, oh, well, over a decade, I have 120 dreams written down. That's not nothing. Okay, so THC. Yeah, that's going to really dampen your dream recall because it does affect REM.
Mm-hmm.
There are 2 stages of dreaming that don't quite seem to be affected by this. So, hypnagogia are those really wild dreams that you get right when you're falling asleep. Sometimes you dream of like falling off something and you like jerk awake.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's that option of you could take a nap during the day and, set a short timer. Fun fact, if you're going to take a nap in the day, make it less than 30 minutes or at least 60 minutes. If you wake up anything more than that, you're going to feel worse. Just
Mm-hmm.
fun fact
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
You can set an alarm. Again, I recommend if you're going to do this, have something that's gentle to wake you up. So if you have a watch or something that can vibrate to pull you out of that sleep, it's like that 10, 15-minute window right when you're falling asleep. Or hypnopompia is when you're waking up in the morning. So you could just lay in bed a little bit longer. You might set your alarm 15 minutes early, have it gently wake you up, go back to sleep with a secondary alarm like 15 minutes later.
That's where
And
most of my stuff happens
Same. I
that
think
I
so.
remember,
Mm-hmm.
obviously. Your phone's doing weird shit. Okay. It's working now. Sorry. Keep going.
so those 2, intentionality is going to be the biggest one to contribute. Well, getting enough sleep, intentionality, those are going to be the biggest factors. We do know that there are some supplements that you can take that increase how vivid your dreams are. B6 supplement that can help.
Interesting.
It can also potentially affect the quality of your sleep. So, if you're someone who has insomnia, it may not be the best option because, again,
Definitely don't take it later in the day.
right. Alcohol is going to dampen. So, if you're
Mm-hmm.
going to drink, try to do it as early in the day as possible. I don't day drink if you want, I guess, but like, if you're going to have a glass of wine with dinner, try to have your dinner earlier in the day or evening. But do know, yeah, it's going to affect your sleep.
Definitely.
There's some over-the-counter medicines like antihistamines that seem to influence dreams, either dampen the recall or are connected to nightmares. So if you have frequent nightmares, you might check with your physician to see if
Mm-hmm.
any over-the-counters are causing that.
Do people that take like sleep meds still dream?
They
Or
do.
like recall.
Yeah, sleep meds, it depends if we're
My mom
talking
loves an
prescribed.
Ambien.
Yeah. So those they do affect your REM cycles. And, obviously talk with a physician if you are prescribed sleep medication, because there might be, if you're like, I really want to dream, I think this would be beneficial, especially for my spiritual life, my personal growth. Talk with a physician, see if there's anything else that can be done. Definitely don't just quit prescribed medicines without
For
talking
sure.
to a medical professional. But also talk with, is it worth considering doing a sleep study? A lot of people have never heard of that before, but there are plenty of neurologists and sleep study professionals out there who would be happy to work with individuals to see what can be done outside of medication to improve sleep. Off the top of my head, from what I know in studies, being able to step outside within 10 minutes of waking up and sitting out there for 10 minutes, just getting that fresh sunlight can do wonders for your circadian rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
Eliminating screens. I know we are all tethered to our devices, but whether that's television or your phone, trying at least an hour before your bedtime to eliminate those can really be beneficial for sleep and your dreams. Because then, how many of us have gone to sleep and, oh, I'm dreaming of Wednesday Addams? Yeah, well, you were just watching Netflix right before. So
For sure.
that
Well, it's
tracks.
the hardest for me. I've trained myself my whole life to fall asleep to TV and stuff. But it's
A lot of
so
people do
funny because
that.
as soon as I almost always, not always, sometimes it's still hard to kind of fall asleep. But if I make a conscious effort, it takes no time to fall asleep once I'm tired. I'm actually keeping my brain awake by watching stuff.
Okay,
And
so
there are, just
sorry.
quick note on that, if you want yoga nidra practices help. Those are sleep meditations. It can also help with lucid dreaming because you're
Oh,
doing a
cool.
meditation right as you are drifting into sleep.
I
So you
love
kind of have
that.
this
Nice.
awareness.
I used to do that every night when I
Really?
was a single girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, before I had a baby and a husband. So, some of the woo woo or just bullshit stuff that people say on TikTok that probably isn't true but could be. So, meeting other people in your dreams, can you, do you believe that you can consciously, agree to both meet on that plane and then you meet there? Or do you think that your souls work out things and, disagreements or things from, real life and the dream life?
Yes. Okay. So this is Robert Wagner is probably. Is this safe to say that, in my opinion, he's one of the leading experts in lucid dreaming? He's had experiences of contacting others in agreed terms and sharing a dream with them. I do like that you called out agreeing. I had an experience not too long ago with a dream, lucid dream, where I thought I might have accidentally ended up in someone's dream, and it freaked me out because I felt like I was invading. And I did reach out to the individual. She said that she didn't recall seeing anyone walk into
Such
her
an
dream. I
interesting
didn't know.
text to get in the morning. Hey, sorry.
Yeah. Thankfully, she's also a dream worker, so
Love
it
it.
didn't strike her as too
Not a
odd.
very odd question.
Yeah. But is it possible? Yeah. According to some prominent lucid dreamers, where they say, yeah, I did that. Every year, the International Association for the Study of Dreams, they have a conference, and during that conference, they have a contest where an individual projects, whether that's, just repeating an image over and over in their minds, acting out the image, whatever. They project this out to the dreamers at the conference. And then that night, anyone who's interested in participating tries to dream of the image without knowing what it is. And then, so it's kind of this telepathy sigh moment of can I dream what this individual is putting out there? They've had some really really interesting hits over the years. So, there does psi phenomena happening? Yeah, I think so. Is that my default of like, oh, I dreamt of this person? Listen, you're dreaming of your ex. Don't pick up your phone and text them right away. Like, there's, okay. Like, yeah. Yeah. Or, my favorite is here, like, I dreamt of you last night. Oh, really? Yeah. You turned into a T-Rex and chased me around Walmart. So, like, there's probably something, it's more likely that it's a message about you and your own work, and your unconscious
Mm-hmm.
is using that
Yeah.
individual
Or
to
just getting
communicate.
closure, even if
Yeah.
it's just on your side.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't, like, if it's an ex, it's like, okay, you're not going to reach out to your ex. But if you feel like you need closure, your subconscious is going to do that for you.
Yeah. And the other part is, what do you associate with them? So I always recommend, like, even if they were the worst partner you've ever had, don't be afraid to list some of the positive qualities that you saw in them,
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
then say, what part of this person is showing up in myself? So is that,
Interesting.
we alluded to it earlier, like your partner in your dream cheats on you and how wounding that can be. Okay, well, would your partner do that in waking life? No, I don't think that they would. Is there a chance? Sure, there's always a chance. But if that's the case, where it's like, no, I don't think they would, and I don't think they are, then it's a moment of, what part of them do I really admire? Or what part of them, what part of this person, their personality, what they bring is in me that's cheating on myself, in a sense of like, I'm cheating myself of this.
Whoa. I've said wow
Dang.
so many times today. Wow. That's deep. That's crazy. Okay. I think I can stop for now.
Yeah, that's very fascinating. That's helpful. That's one that comes up for me a lot. Either like I was cheated on by my husband or I'm cheating on my husband. And then it's like, holy fuck,
Mm.
what was that
Can
about?
you have orgasms in your dream? Like,
Absolutely.
well, like you actually, your body
Yes.
actually is?
Yep.
Yeah.
So for anyone listening, like, sex in dreams is common, and what happens, it's also studied in the bodily sense of, when you enter REM, not only is there neurochemical stuff going on, but your body is aroused, period.
Okay,
And
that makes
we've
sense.
studied that across, that's been replicated time and time again. And so, if you were religious, or you think like, oh my gosh, sex dreams, what was I doing? It's like, that is what to dream is, to be aroused. And so
Interesting.
that creative energy, instead of viewing as like, oh, it's sex, it's like, yes. And sex is a form of creation,
Yes.
connection. So if I am dreaming of having sex with someone, my personal default is, what about this person do I admire? What am I trying to connect with this person? And not necessarily the person, but what they represent to me, what I associate. What am I trying to unify in myself? Those qualities, that personality, what I admire about that individual, to make part of my personality and my soul.
Whoa.
So cool.
Awesome. Okay. Do you have any more questions before we get into like?
No, I just want to like get into how you're applying this and working with
Mm-hmm.
people and
How they can work with you?
yeah, because I'm feeling like to me in this moment, I'm like, oh, I just had this dream. I gotta call Jaxon. Can I get into an appointment today or tomorrow? Like, is that possible? And what does a session look like with you? I feel like you've shown us a lot of really great examples walking through the scenarios as they've come up, which I would assume is a part of your work too. But let's hear about what these programs look like with you and how they go into action and how people can work with you.
Yeah, so I love, my personal favorite is, I host a weekly dream group,
Hmm.
and cohorts go for 8 weeks. Currently, we just started one not too long ago. So if individuals are interested in doing that, they can reach out to me on Instagram. I'm more than happy to send a link of how to sign up for that group.
Yeah. What day of the week is it? You said it's monthly or weekly?
Weekly, so every Thursday. And the current times are It's 6 p.m. Mountain Time, which is 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, and they go for 90 minutes. And the beauty of sharing in a group is it allows other people to share perspectives that we just might not consider. Now,
Mm-hmm.
when I say perspectives, no one is saying this is what your dream means.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is to take the dreamer's shared experience, what they provide, and that can be as much or as little as the dreamer wants. That's for them to decide. From there, each person in the group can share, if this were my dream, this is what comes up for me. So I might share like, oh, I'm in my childhood home or whatever. And that home for every person in the group means something different,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like my lived experience as a 5-year-old is going to be different than yours.
Mm-hmm.
However, there might be something where it's like, yeah, during that time frame, that was a really traumatic part of my life. That's a nightmare point. And it's like, okay, I hear you. That wasn't my experience, but it allows these things to open up across the board. I think of it as when you're saying, gosh, I'm hungry. I want to go out and get some food. What do you want? I don't know. Right? We've all had that experience of like, I'm
Every
hungry.
day of my life.
Right. And then someone says, well, how about Thai food? No, not Thai food. How
Always
do you know
yes.
it's not Thai food? Well, because there's a feeling, right? Like there's like, no,
Yeah.
it's not that. What about Indian food? No. Takeout? No. Burger. Oh my God, I could destroy a burger
I'm
right
so
now.
hungry right now.
So having that group perspective
Mm-hmm.
allows for those moments like, no, it's not that. I appreciate the suggestion like Thai
It
food, but no, it's
helps.
not that.
Yeah.
A really cool experience briefly. I read about this in a book by Jeremy Taylor. He kind of here in the States helped formulate this approach to group work. There was a woman who shared her dream, and a lot of people were sharing like, oh yeah, it sounds like this is tied to your dealing with identity because you are now an empty nester. And a lot of that resonated. Just briefly, the dream was she goes down into the basement of her house and her kids are throwing her a party, and there's this big party going on she wasn't invited to. And there's a bouncer there, and the bouncer asks for her ID, and she's like, it's my house. What are you talking about, my ID? And he says, I need your ID. She opens up her purse and there's rotting meat inside.
Whoa.
And so, a lot of people are saying, yeah, it sounds like it's connected to your identity. That's how I would take it. Uh, One individual goes, I mean, it's kind of out there, but like, when was the last time that you had a female checkup? Well, what do you mean? He goes, well, like rotting meat in a purse. Again, it's probably nothing, but that's just kind of what came to mind for me. And that sat with her. And she's like, okay, called up her OBGYN, went in for an appointment. Everything looks fine. Just kept nagging at her. And she's like, no, like what other test can we do? So they do one more test and it comes back that there was cancer and it was undetected, but up until that point wouldn't have been detected until it was like too late had she not insisted for this extra test.
Wow.
So again, it's like it didn't occur to her with that dream. It didn't occur to most people in the group, but just one group member was like, I don't know, for me, it's just kind of like, yeah, I associate a purse, feminine, rotting meat. Yeah, that's just kind of the symbol that's coming up for me.
So
So
fascinating.
Yeah, I think
Wow.
that might be the most important story of the whole time, just because I think that shows our subconscious knows more than I don't know, knows what's going on in our body, and to listen to signs like that, we are all knowings if we can pay attention to things
absolutely.
and signs.
And yeah, there's definitely that part where it's symbolic, but there is a way for it to translate to the literal and not to be afraid. People ask me, well, why did you shave your hair? And they often throw out reasons like, oh, is it so hot? And you're just like, you wanted to cool down. And I say, well, I had recurring dreams. And the look on their face is just so puzzled, like, what? That makes no sense. But it's like, it doesn't have to make sense
Mm-hmm.
because it's not for you, it's for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so to go into a doctor, by all means, start by saying, like, I know this sounds a little bit crazy, but I've been having these dreams and I just want to get some blood work done, some tests, just to make sure. Okay. Doctor may think you're off your rocker, but it's not for the doctor. It's for you.
Mhm.
I mean,
Wow.
for the hair thing, it's like obviously your hair holds on to a lot of energy and there's like something in it or connected to it, whether it's like identity or actual energy that needed to be released. And your
Shed.
subconscious was asking for like a new version of yourself to show up.
Yes, exactly. And going to, I mentioned the dream where I was lucid and ended up in what I felt like was another dreamer's dream. That happened the night that I shaved my head. And so, yeah, there was this moment of like letting go and, okay, I'm not taking this as a like literal call to shave my head. I'm shaving my head because I want to honor the dream and make it a ritual of, I hear you. I don't necessarily know exactly what you're saying, but I'm going to honor this.
Love it.
And yeah, there's power in, whether it's a dream journal or creating art from your dreams or simply sharing it with a group as a way to honor. And it doesn't necessarily mean I have to figure out what every dream means. Honor the dream at a minimum. Just show it's important. I care about myself, my unconscious and conscious self. So I want to honor that.
Love it. And then do you do one-on-one?
Absolutely. Yeah. So one-on-one sessions, those are available. Again, I have a link on my website. I work with people across the board. And it's funny, like I'm having these moments where I'm still dreaming on it because I want to help people.
Mhm.
I have the rates that I've set based on kind of industry. And I want to help people. And so I've been having this moment of like, are my rates, or like, what should I do? And I think anyone who does healing work comes up against this,
Yeah.
where I want to be available for those who may be less fortunate and can't necessarily spend, you know, $70 to $90 a session.
Mhm.
What do I do there? And I have a lot of friends who are also therapists. Now, I'm lucky being a coach and a professional dream worker that I don't have some of the same admin, same like
Mhm.
requirements of
Right.
therapists that they're
Mhm.
like, would I love to lower my rates? Sure, but I have to pay for supervision. I have to pay
Yeah.
for this. I have to do all this. So I'm currently in that phase of dreaming about it
I'm really good
where,
at the business side of stuff, so if you wanna chat later, I have some ideas on, like, what I think could work both ways
yeah,
to make money, but also, like, help people.
Yeah, it's totally possible to do both.
exactly.
I build in a lot of like I think having the group thing is like a huge piece because that's probably like, easier financial place to meet people and then to have that group like I do a lot of group situations here where it's less expensive but you still get access and like a full experience if not more because you're with other people and then you know finding ways where you can donate if you can. But I think it's just having that balance because you have like it is an energy exchange too and it does
Hmm.
take a lot out of you to hold that space for people
And you're
as well.
working full time
Yeah.
on top of that.
And, a dad to 4 kids.
Yeah,
Right.
it's a lot.
So having that balance is very important.
Yeah. And so that's something, again, where, because I've had people on both ends where I've had colleagues who will say, your rates aren't high enough. I've had other people say like, oh, it's too much, whatever the case may be. So I'm, again, finding that to what you said, like the energy exchange and what's right to honor my unconscious and my path and provide the work for the available work to others to learn to grow. It's an interesting thing where when you're truly leaning into the unconscious and finding
Yeah.
that path forward, leaning on it to the point of like, just tell me what you need from me and I'll do it, is really interesting. Like pulling that through even to business is an experience.
And how long have you been like professionally doing this work, like helping others and having these sessions?
Yeah, so I started doing the work in training for dream work. It's been a year. And then as a Jungian coach, it's been, 2 years now, 2.5.
How long ago did we all chat?
I think it was like 2.5 years ago. Like you were kind of in the beginning. And I remember like we ended our conversation on dreams. Like this was something very present for you that you were
like, I'm
working with
interested.
and you're learning about. And we're like, ooh, we're going to have you back to talk about dreams. And I love that like we are on this side of that where you have like, you are a master of it, and like a professional at it. And it's like you've just evolved
Followed your
so
dreams.
much. Yeah, to like
Yes,
find you
yeah.
over here on this side of like, oh, I'm not just dabbling and curious, but like I'm making this a part of my purpose now is just beautiful.
And we'll
Thank you.
probably do this all again in another year or two
I
and see
know.
where we're all at there.
Absolutely.
But
I
with
would
that
love
being
that.
said, I think like the more you do it and the more that you like hone into what you're doing, like you give yourself permission to continue to evolve what your pricing looks like too, and it's just being in alignment and like living moment to moment and dreaming up the dream, and it just continues to become more refined as time goes on also. Like you don't have to be
Absolutely.
like, this is how it is forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, anyone who I would love to work with, any listener, whether that's one-on-one or in a group. I'm even exploring the option. I haven't put it out there yet. This is kind of the first time I've voiced it of what if you have a dream, but again, whether it's the time, the money, whatever, how can we work that dream together where you get the benefit without paying for that? And maybe that's something along the lines of a monthly submit or something, and your dream might be selected anonymously. Go
Love that.
on Instagram, whatever, if
Yeah.
this were my dream, whatever that might be.
I love that
that.
idea.
And then where can people find you?
So you can find me either on my website, which is innerechoescoaching.com, or I am on Instagram at Jaxon_Jungian Coach. That's JUNGIAN Coach. Also started a TikTok. TikTok's weird. I don't know if I'll keep doing it, but
together.
Yeah, we're trying.
Is it the same handle?
Yes, it's the same as well.
Would you like to pull a card for us before we all
Absolutely.
leave each other?
Yes. So this deck is the Notes from the Pagan Otherworlds deck.
Is this an oracle or a tarot deck?
This is a tarot.
Little ASMR.
Okay. Our card is the Page of Cups.
Cute.
So one thing, again, getting tarot's amazing if you're wanting to look into things and get accustomed to symbolism. Of course, you can always pull up your, the booklet and read about it there. But one thing that I encourage you to do, get familiar with the symbolism. What comes up for you? Whether it's like, oh, I don't know, Page of Cups. It's like, okay, but what's there? So describing it for readers, it is a man who is wearing a red kilt. He's got boots on. He's standing on the beach. The waves are coming up to the back of his heels. On the ground, there are 2 stones near his feet. In his left hand, he's holding up a goblet or a cup. He's got red hair. He's got this tunic that is behind him, and his right hand is a little bit outstretched and pointing. So initially looking at it, it's as if he is toasting to the sky, while at the same time his right hand is pointing downward. And so for me, what comes up is this balance of raising a cup to the sky, gratitude, while pointing downward of like remaining grounded to the earth.
As above, so below.
Exactly. And,
Conscious, subconscious.
Yeah.
Water to me is very dreamy.
Yes. The ocean oftentimes is represented as the unconscious. And so, it's washing up to the shore behind him. Again, the symbolism of behind. Directions are a big thing. Feel free to look into, the metaphors of up and down, good and bad, behind and front. And so with the ocean behind him, that unconscious, not really aware of that, but, so what comes to mind with all this? If this were you in a dream as the Page of Cups, take a moment to think, what's in your cup? What are you toasting to the sky, what's above and beyond you? How are you remaining grounded? How are you ensuring that the unconscious, while it may be behind you, is still present in your life as you're walking along the shoreline?
And the
So
page
cool.
is supposed to be like more, I guess, like naive and inexperienced, right? As well.
Yeah, that's my understanding of it. You're a page to a knight. It's that beginning, that training.
Like still learning.
Yeah, the apprenticeship.
Apprentice.
So
Love that.
take a moment. For me, it's that reminder of life presents us with the apprenticeship, the opportunity to grow. So wherever you're at, even if you feel like you're a master in that realm, there is still room to grow and to be grateful for what's beyond while still remaining grounded.
Obsessed.
Yeah.
So
wow.
good. Thank you so much, Jaxon, for
It was so
joining us again.
good.
This
Thank
is
you.
amazing.
This episode has been produced by my husband, Curtis Burgess.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Waking Up the Witch.
And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please email us at wakingupthewitch@gmail.com.
And don't forget to head over to the link in our bio on Instagram for all the ways to connect with both Amber and Taylar. And go to moonbeeswellness.com for all your self-care and witchy news.
We love you. Bye.
Bye. Ow. Ow.